Now, this ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah seems to be hanging on by a very thin thread. Why then is Israel still striking Lebanon, even though it said it wouldn't?
Well, I mean, this is a question really for the Israeli government. The ceasefire is, as you said rightly, tenuous, but it is holding right now. From what reports seem to indicate, there is a lot of dissension within the Israeli society that the northern border has not been sufficiently protected. There are even allegations that this escalation into Lebanon is something being perpetrated by Prime Minister Netanyahu because of the legal challenges that he's facing. Again, a rather cynical approach. But there is, of course, a very legitimate concern about security, and certainly Hezbollah, after the decimation of its leadership in recent weeks by the Israelis, is looking for some kind of a retaliation.
And in Israel, some feel they have lost the chance to do more damage to Hezbollah, I believe. What does Israel want to achieve ultimately in Lebanon? And does this ceasefire mean that they've lost the opportunity?
Well, there's a spectrum of objectives, it seems, coming from Israeli leadership. There are some in Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition government, particularly those on the hard right, who are saying that southern Lebanon is actually part of greater Israel and that this is a fulfillment of some kind of biblical prophecy imperative that must be achieved. There is, of course, the whole idea of the security of the northern border as it is. But this is really a very difficult situation in trying to understand what the objectives are. This is, of course, not the first time that there have been issues between Hezbollah and Lebanon, a conflict going at least 40 to 42 years. But the idea that Israel can, as it has been trying to do in Gaza, eliminate Hezbollah as it's trying to eliminate Hamas, doesn't seem to really hold water. After all, Hezbollah is a legitimate part of the Lebanese government. The Speaker of the Lebanese parliament is quite sympathetic to Hezbollah. The situation is perhaps a little bit more akin to Ireland, where you had the IRA, but you also had Sinn Féin. That was its political wing. So the idea then of trying to dismantle a political as well as a paramilitary entity seems to be really far-fetched on the part of Israel.
So now we're, several months into the war in Lebanon. More than 3,500 people have been killed. A huge part of the population has been displaced, many now hoping to return to their homes, especially in the south. What kind of support does Lebanon need, financial and otherwise, to try and rebuild?
The World Bank estimates that somewhere between $8.5 to $10 billion is what Lebanon is going to require. And we have to remember that the Lebanese economy, even before the current situation, was in shambles. Incredible inflation and, of course, also the devaluation of the Lebanese currency. So there was already problems going in. This has been exacerbated, particularly when it comes to the kind of reconstruction that needs to occur. Again, estimates place that just the housing sector is going to require about $3.2 billion. And this is not just in southern Lebanon, which from all reports of people returning to their homes has been flattened, but also in Beirut, where you have, of course, the commercial and political center of the country, so much destruction and damage there. The European Union has pledged $1 billion, but again, as you see, that's barely 12% of what is going to be required for a full rebuild.
Meanwhile, a very different situation in Gaza. The US is expected to push for a new ceasefire there, but it hasn't happened yet. What's to say it ever will? And at what point do you believe Israel will stop its war on Gaza?
According again to the Israeli leadership and particularly Prime Minister Netanyahu, he's saying that it's going to require the elimination of Hamas. Again, all analysts, including members of his own security, intelligence, and military leadership, say that this is impossible to really happen. You can cripple Hamas, you can take out some of their leadership, but there will always be a Hamas. My prediction is that at some point Netanyahu will probably claim that Hamas has been sufficiently eliminated, although it probably hasn't, and then we'll move towards some kind of a ceasefire. But again, right now, and especially with the transition of governments in the United States, its chief ally, Israel, doesn't seem to have much incentive to de-escalate the situation.
All right, Saeed Khan, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.